You love this. I don't even got to see myself. Here we go. All right, welcome back to the channel, State of the Franchise Sports. And as you saw in the thumbnail, I'm going to talk about the James Harden trade. And to be honest, I don't care for it. Now, I'm a bit biased in multiple ways. One, I don't like James Harden. I just don't care for him. He acts like a punk bitch. Let's be real. You know, he seems to have had a pretty solid team there in Houston, full of players that actually complement his skills, as opposed to just you know where Daryl Morey continued to bring on player after player that either he James Harden liked particularly, or he played with him at one point. Now, granted, he gets to play with Kevin Durant, the best of the three from that 2011 Thunder team. But like I don't understand James Harden. But then again, he's going to Brooklyn, where Brooklyn is weird as hell. He's gonna play with two other dudes who are just about as weird as he is. So maybe this all works out in the end. Um, Kyrie Irving, I think, is is about to get a reality check. Now, granted, we don't know what he's out for. It's just been stated as personal reasons. The only people that know are probably Coach Nash, Kevin Durant, and Kyrie himself. I don't know if anybody else in the organization even knows what's going on, but he looks like he might be the odd man out. James Harden is basically an insurance policy in case Kyrie, for some reason, isn't playing for either the rest of the season or whatever the deal may be. Hope, in my sincerest opinion, really not opinion, I hope for the best for Kyrie Irving. I hope it's nothing serious. Even though we may clown on him for being weird and all that good stuff, I really hope the best for him. But you know, I, I just feel like the Nets fleeced themselves. Um, you know, Karis LeVert, I mean, granted, he's not James Harden. I completely understand that. And while I disagree with how James Harden has basically played most of his career in Houston, yeah, you've got Spencer Dinwiddie as well. Though, granted, I think the only reason why Dinwiddie is still there is because he got hurt. If he doesn't get hurt, he ends up in the package too. I think he gets traded probably to Indiana. I don't know if y'all knew, this was a four-team trade. Cleveland probably getting, I guess, the worst of it. Indiana surprisingly traded Victor Oladipo to Houston, who I actually think, again, compliments that team more than, say, having James Harden. Again, there's a difference between the talent of James Harden and the chemistry of James Harden. As I don't know if you guys saw last night, John Wall owns that team. That team is his now. Like, he looks like, a locker room leader, even though he's only been there about a month or two. Which honestly is great for them. I mean, I feel like John Wall really um, is really taking it upon himself to be, a leader. Though I also didn't like how he left Washington, but I don't know. Maybe this change of scenery is good for him. I know he was under the impression that the Wizards were really going to build around him, when, to be honest, Bradley Beal has been holding it down for the past 2, 3 years for real, despite all the trade rumors he's heard. The Washington Wizards, governor has decided, and when I say governor, I mean owner, because Adam Silver is they've the ownership is basically, they've changed the terminology, which I get. Um, since the Donald Sterling thing, but Bradley Beal been holding down the fort, and yeah, John Wall really couldn't expect to be considered the franchise centerpiece when you're not playing, or when you haven't played much in the past 2 to 3 seasons. Now, again, back to Brooklyn, the they're going to have a hard time rebuilding. Now, granted, I know that they're in the, they're definitely a contender now, but you lose all that depth, and you need that depth to come, a 7 game series in the playoffs. Even if you have the overwhelming advantage with three marquee players in the league in Kyrie Irving, probably the best ball handler since Allen Iverson. He's also a very dangerous scoring threat. Going to the basket. Um, James Harden, one of the best scorers in the past decade, and to be real, one of the best of all time at scoring the basketball. Do I like the fact he don't play defense? Hell no. Do I like the fact Kyrie Irving don't really play defense either? Nah. KD, he can hold it down. Now, granted, he's probably going to have to play a lot more four man. Now, I get that today's NBA is not as it was maybe 10, 15, 20, 25 years ago, where your power forwards and your bigs are playing down on the block primarily, or really at the basically from the baseline to the free throw line in that post area. um the game has changed. The Nets have a guy like Jeff Green playing the four, who I honestly never would have thought or considered as a four man, but because a lot of teams are going with stretch fours and guys that are shooters at the power forward position, because there really aren't there aren't positions, there are roles that guys play so much more so now than even 10 years ago. um I mean, listen, this team has literally 2 years to win a championship, because come 2022-23, the Nets will have $127 million invested in the three that I mentioned. Um, and Joe Harris will be there too. I mean, assuming they don't trade him, as his contract now looks a lot more friendly. Again, Durant making 40, Kyrie make not Kyrie. Kyrie will make 37 or so. And what's his face? Harden will make also $40 million. Um Houston probably gets the best of this trade. The first round picks and pick swaps will not matter, because they'll end up being probably 24 or higher. Not saying that you can't find talent um, any of the next 7 years that they'll get pick swaps, or six. As one of those pick swaps is from Milwaukee, who Milwaukee already has pick swaps with New Orleans. That could get confusing. I'm not sure if it's the exact same picks, but it is what it is. Um, I mean, Houston gets first round picks, of which honestly they'll probably use to trade for a disgruntled, like, middle tier veteran whenever that comes to be. Um, Indiana, I don't know what Indiana is doing right now. Maybe they're building around DeMontis Sabonis, who has honestly been killing it this first 10 or 12 so games, 10, 12, 14 games of the season. He's playing very well. Shit, he's blowing his daddy's legacy out the water. I think he got a triple double the other night. Was that last week? Against, might have been the Blazers. Um, Cleveland, Cleveland don't really get a hell of a whole lot. Let's be honest. Though Cleveland, what Cleveland has going, they're trying to get as many young pieces as they can to hopefully build around someone. As I now expect Kevin Love to be out of there before the trade deadline, Drummond probably as well. Though again, this team is not horrendous, but like, what direction are they going? All right, and that'll be it for me on this one. If you like anything else I put on this channel, please click on down there or something like that. Subscribe, or just look through the page, see if there's something you might be interested in. I also do sports topics, not only on the NBA, but I also do NFL, um, MLB. I do various franchise and career sports mode, gameplay. So if you like any of that stuff, please hit the like, hit, comment if you think I'm a hater. And if you dislike the damn video, say something. Don't just dislike it. All right. Peace.